Welcome to Royal Daily Report, your trusted source for breaking royal news that changes everything. I'm your host, and what we're about to share with you today will shake the foundations of the British monarchy. This is not gossip. This is evidence. This is truth waiting to explode. Don't forget to subscribe to Royal Daily Report and hit that notification bell because you need to see what happens next. Let's begin. A quiet voice is suddenly speaking, and it isn't just a rumor anymore. For years, the world believed Archie and Lilibet were born to Meghan Markle. But now, a woman using the initials DL has stepped forward with a very different story. She's not calling herself a surrogate. She's calling herself the biological mother. According to sources familiar with her legal team, DL isn't presenting vague accusations. She's bringing documents, signed non-disclosure agreements dated before the births, hospital admission records from a Colorado facility, and most damaging of all, financial transactions allegedly linking her directly to Prince Harry and Meghan's private team. Insiders close to the situation are calling this a turning point. One described it simply, "This is no longer speculation. This is evidence waiting to be published." DL remains anonymous publicly, but behind the scenes, her identity is already known to several legal parties. And with her documentation now verified by attorneys, the story has shifted from whispers to checkmate waiting to happen. Even before the newspapers can print a headline, Buckingham Palace is already in crisis mode. According to sources inside the institution, senior legal advisors have been pulled into urgent closed-door calls. No press officers, no PR teams, only constitutional lawyers and senior court officials. Because this, if true, isn't simply a scandal. It's a legal threat to the heart of the monarchy. Under current succession law, only children born of the royal mother are eligible to inherit titles and rank. If Archie and Lilibet were not born from Meghan, then their status in the line of succession is invalid, no matter how many photos or announcements were released. One palace aide reportedly described the atmosphere as not panic, but something worse, constitutional danger. They are not preparing statements. They are preparing legal responses. If you're shocked by what you're hearing, make sure to subscribe to Royal Daily Report right now. Share this with everyone who needs to know the truth. To understand how this story might have been hidden, you have to look at the timeline and notice what doesn't add up. Archie's birth was announced 7 hours after it actually happened, with no media present and no official hospital confirmation. Only later did sources admit Meghan had been quietly taken to Portland Hospital in London, a move that was never disclosed until after the fact. What raised even more questions is what happened after the birth. She reportedly returned home in less than 2 hours, something royal medical staff later called highly unusual and, in private, medically questionable. But the biggest red flag came 30 days later. Without warning and without public explanation, Meghan's full legal name was removed from Archie's birth certificate. In its place appeared only her royal title. No official reason was ever given. To some, it looked like a formatting change. To others, it looked like someone was cleaning the paperwork before anyone started asking questions. According to people close to DL's legal team, this didn't start as a threat. It started as an agreement. Back in late 2018, months before Archie's birth, a private arrangement was allegedly drafted between DL and intermediaries working on behalf of Meghan and Harry. It included 3 key promises: total anonymity, her identity would never be revealed, full financial compensation to be paid after delivery, complete removal from the public narrative, no record tying her to the children. DL agreed. She followed every instruction. She stayed silent. But the moment the children were born, everything changed. The payment stopped. The communication ended. Her connection to the children was scrubbed as if she never existed at all. No acknowledgement, no compensation, not even a legal record confirming her involvement. As one member of her legal team reportedly put it, she kept her end of the bargain. They erased her from history. This is Royal Daily Report, bringing you the investigations that matter. Stay with us and don't forget to subscribe. For a long time, the public saw Prince Harry as the protective husband, a man trying to shield his family from the same pressure that destroyed his mother. But sources close to the couple are now painting a very different picture. According to individuals with knowledge of the agreement, Harry played a direct role in setting up the secret arrangement with DL. The deal wasn't managed through Buckingham Palace or official royal channels. Instead, It was reportedly coordinated through an intermediary linked to a private fertility clinic in California. That detail matters because it suggests the plan may have been designed outside of royal oversight from the very beginning. These same sources insist Harry wasn't just aware of what was happening, he was actively managing it, organizing the contact, approving the terms, overseeing the payment structure. If that's true, then Prince Harry didn't simply go along with the deception. He helped build it. While the deal stayed buried behind closed doors, Meghan was building something very different in public, a personal brand based on honesty and transparency. In interviews, she spoke about truth. In speeches, she warned against silence and secrecy. And in the famous Oprah sit-down, she positioned herself openly as a victim of the royal system, someone fighting outdated rules and choosing to speak her truth. But according to people who worked closely with her during that period, that image was not accidental. It was strategic. One former associate described it this way: "She told the truth publicly, just not the truth." It was designed to make any future allegation look like an attack, not a revelation. In other words, while the surrogacy arrangement remained hidden, Meghan built a narrative in which she would always be seen as the honest one, even if the real story never aligned with that public image. As DL's claims gained traction, legal experts began to re-examine one very specific piece of paperwork: Archie's birth certificate. At first, people noticed the obvious change. Meghan's full legal name was quietly removed and replaced with her royal title only. At the time, it was dismissed as a stylistic update, but constitutional specialists now see it differently. If DL is the biological mother, then using Meghan's legal name on the certificate could have triggered mandatory verification checks under UK law, including verification of medical records and the attending physician. By removing her name, those checks may have been avoided entirely. One London-based constitutional advisor described it bluntly: "It looks less like a formatting change and more like a preemptive removal of potential evidence." In other words, the certificate wasn't altered for presentation. It may have been altered to protect the secret. Keep watching Royal Daily Report for the complete story. Subscribe now so you don't miss any updates on this developing situation. As the pressure builds behind closed doors, the dynamic inside the Sussex household has shifted dramatically. According to individuals who've remained in contact with the couple, Harry is struggling the most. He's described as restless, paranoid, and increasingly isolated. Some say he's now sleeping in separate quarters. Blaming Meghan for letting it spiral and not stepping in sooner to contain the situation. Meanwhile, Meghan has taken the opposite direction: complete silence. No appearances, no statements, no social activity. For someone who has always relied on controlling her own narrative, the sudden withdrawal is being viewed by insiders as deeply unusual. One palace source put it simply: "This isn't a pause, it feels like surrender, and everyone around them can sense it." The scandal hasn't gone public yet, but inside their private world, it already has. What was once a private dispute is now turning into a legal time bomb. DL's legal team has reportedly finished compiling a full evidence package, including original contracts, time-stamped emails between intermediaries and the Sussex team, hospital photographs taken during the delivery, and communication logs tracing the entire arrangement back to late 2018. Their intention, according to legal sources, is to make all of it public unless a formal settlement is reached. Buckingham Palace isn't waiting. Lawyers have already begun drafting internal memos outlining worst-case scenarios, including the loss of royal titles and the removal of Archie and Lilibet from the line of succession. One constitutional source gave a clear warning: if even half of her documentation checks out, we are entering uncharted legal territory. The clock is ticking, and for the first time, the monarchy may not have the power to control where the truth goes next. The sun has long set over Buckingham Palace, but the lights remain on, not for ceremony and not for appearances. Inside, senior advisors work quietly through the night, drafting contingency plans for something the monarchy has never faced: a constitutional emergency triggered by a lie. Across the ocean in California, one woman holds a small archive of documents, NDAs, medical forms, email chains. The kind of proof that doesn't ask for belief, it demands it. Meghan says nothing. Harry doesn't defend her. And for the first time since their dramatic exit from royal life, There is no interview, no documentary, no carefully edited narrative to control what happens next. So, the question is no longer did they lie, the real question is far more dangerous. What happens when the truth is no longer theirs to control? Because once DL steps forward, this stops being a conversation about two royal children. It becomes something much bigger. A challenge to the bloodline that built an empire and a secret that was never meant to see daylight. This has been Royal Daily Report, bringing you the stories that will define history. If this investigation shocked you, you need to subscribe to Royal Daily Report immediately. Hit that bell icon for notifications. Share this video with everyone who deserves to know the truth behind the royal facade. This story is far from over, and we will be here to cover every development as it unfolds. I'm your host, and thank you for trusting Royal Daily Report with the truth. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and most importantly, stay subscribed. We'll see you in the next report.